So some of the instances of plausibly deniable military grade covert stalking and sabotage that I experience linked to Almost Rapist, a true crime memoir, and, probably since when I was at Tisch School of the Arts, I think probably the war between Scientology and the FBI were trying to turn me into like a casualty of that for various reasons, is often maddeningly spread out over a series of seemingly unrelated acts of harassment that are impossible to describe without at least being considered possibly delusional. But this is an instance that was, for some reason, very blatant and very easy to just illustrate the anatomy of what tends to take place towards me on a regular basis. So back in I think it must have been April, I was going to a store, like a tech store, to use their Wi-Fi for something on my laptop, and I bumped into this guy that I met years and years ago, right when I was launching my Kickstarter for the short film version of a Scientology satire that I published. And when I met him, we were working the same job, and he basically was like, oh, hey, I just got into Columbia grad acting, and it's really expensive. I'm not sure what I will do for tuition and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, you should do a Kickstarter. You have a really compelling life story too. You should definitely try that, among, I guess, all the other possible avenues. And he was like, yeah, that's kind of a cool idea. Maybe you could do the Kickstarter. I was like, oh, I shouldn't do it because I have too many projects, and also you could easily do it on your own. It would be a short, easy process. You could probably figure it out just by Googling it. And I was like, I wasn't sure at that point if that was just an offhanded casual proposal for a project, or if he was maybe hired as an operative at that time to stalk me through this job, because that was starting to happen around when I met him, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was seeing. I hadn't read The Unbreakable Miss Lovely or Shoshana Zuboff's work, or about the East German Stasi, and I hadn't read Kinzer's book about MK Ultra and stuff like that. So wasn't a big deal. Then several months later, I was sitting in a diner near Madison Square Garden, trying to finish a script for a deadline that was very, very several, it was in several hours, and he passes by the window of the diner and sees me, and then comes in, and he's chatting, and he was very nice. All of our actual interactions were pleasant, but this sense of oh, I don't know if this is just a coincidence that he's bumping into me, or if this is another instance of someone stalking me on my GPS. Because in New York City, it's not likely to bump into someone that unless you're like right in your neighborhood where you have a lot of like localized, regular interactions. Like the instance of coincidence that I experience it's not coincidence, but a lot of the interactions will be so mundane that I have to act normal or I'll be made to look like the crazy one. Yet there's this horrible sensation of like, I'm almost certain this person did not just appear by coincidence. They like stalked me, yet I have to go through the motions of being polite. And that's just not a good feeling at all. Like, it's a terrible feeling. It sounds like nothing until you actually experience it. But just like bumping into someone that you are reasonably certain is not coincidence and that they've stalked you, but then they're having like a totally nice, normal, friendly interaction. It's a horrible feeling of like compliance, subordination, subservience. It's a really gross feeling. But this was fairly early, like right after a lot of the stuff started happening. So sometimes I'd be like, oh, this person that I know, like, I don't get it. Like, why does it feel like they just appeared in a stalkerly way, but there's nothing particularly wrong and they're kind of like chill, So he like chatted with me and I was kind of like in my head, I was like, I don't want to be chatting so long because I literally have to finish this really, really tight thing I'm trying to submit for a deadline. But I'm like, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. But then I was like, okay, I was like, well, I'm actually like sitting here kind of frantically trying to finish this deadline. But like, we should definitely still talk more. And then so he left and I was like, okay, I don't know. I was like, maybe some kind of secret mafia that wants to help with my work is like sending actors to bump into me. So they're, that's cool. Like, that's fine. But like, could they maybe like send me some funding for projects first before they said, like, like it was confusing to me. I don't know. It was like, it's like, I was like, oh, he's a Columbia grad actor, he's like a smart, nice, intelligent, like educated, like person that I could totally see myself wanting to collaborate with. But yet there's this stalker element. And I'm just like, so what is this? Like, what exactly is happening with that? So, because I'm guessing this is not how other artists work, right? Is this how like people work when, they're being offered like success opportunities and like I'm just, being resistant to it? Like, am I getting invited into like a cult that I should want to be in and I'm just, needing to be a little more open? Or am I just getting harassed and this is not happening to anyone else who's like successful and actually getting like money and like script deals? Like, please tell me, if this is normal and if I'm just being too uptight. But it's not a good feeling. So so yeah, I hadn't seen this guy in several years, and then several weeks ago, I guess now a couple months, in like April, here I am, I'm walking to the computer store that's not at all in my locality, and I'm standing at the street corner. I see someone like walk up beside me, and they're like, oh, hey. First they're on their cell phone, talking on their phone, and then they hang up. They're like, hey, oh, hey. I'm like, oh, hey. And we start talking, we cross the street, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the guy who, from work and, appeared at that diner one night. Okay. So I had like we start chit-chatting, like, hey, how are you? Like, what are you up to? I had posted like some like posts on Facebook about like on one of my pages or accounts that was just kind of like referencing how I'd been like my trajectory of graduating college with an agent was like sabotaged by like a multi-interest black ops attempt like within the school somehow. That very next day, I had privately on my personal cell phone Googled, what auditions were coming up. That very next day, there was like this open, there was like an industry, like a agent audition for like a straight actor representation that I was planning to go to. He was like, oh yeah, I did this fellowship at this theater, and it was actually a fellowship that like this other weird person who got hired to stalk me for my book. Like, I don't know if these people are getting hired by Kroll. Kroll could be a possibility. That was one of the companies Harvey Weinstein hired, and Black Cube is too elite to be hiring just like random actors from like even Columbia MFA. Like, Black Cube really only hires like elite former intelligence agents, but Kroll, like, at least according to Google, they actually might hire like actors in the same way certain PI firms might hire actors for certain jobs. So but that's just Google, I don't know. Anyway, this guy is like, whoever these people are getting hired by to stalk and weirdly harass me, there's like an internal network where they are all kind of getting involved in this kind of network, and then they get like opportunities from it for their non-stalker careers. So like, I don't know if Kroll or whoever's hiring them has like somebody like planted at this theater, and they're like, hey, I can help you get this theater fellowship too. I know a guy who knows a guy, but it seems like these people, some of them have like weirdly creepily just been involved in trying to stalk or smear or honey trap me, and then it'll be like suddenly they get some sort of big career win like shortly after, like articles about their work in certain publications, or like fast tracking of a project of theirs to like a really career changing opportunity. He was like saying, yeah, I did this fellowship at this theater, I did the whole Columbia grad MFA thing, and I didn't even I didn't get an agent. And I was like, oh, I wasn't going to go into it because you can't have a natural, fun, spontaneous conversation when you're like in your head wondering if the person has stalked you. And I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to this audition tomorrow, you should come. I'm just not. Because at this point, I'm no longer like an open book when people are just stalking me like this. Like, that is not an option. It's not something I owe anyone anymore. If it's not very community oriented to give someone the feeling they're being stalked. So I'm not going to offer things that I plan to do, because I can't just be telling people my plans anymore, unfortunately. I'm a naturally, sharing person with information like that normally, but now every information that I give about myself has only kind of been something that now I have to worry about it's being weaponized against me. So, I can't, I'm no longer, it's no longer a litmus test of, my kindness and generosity to say, hey man, I'm going to this agent audition tomorrow, you should come. No, I don't want you knowing what I'm doing tomorrow. I don't want you knowing where I am. I don't want you finding ways to interfere with me. And it has nothing to do with, oh wow, what a team player. It's just that I am being like stalked by $1 billion spy wing of a church who's, possibly hiring $1 billion companies like Kroll to help them. And I have to prioritize my basic privacy and safety in ways that other people don't even have to think about. Regardless of what stage they are in their career, like, unless they're like Taylor Swift, and in that instance at least there's the payoff benefits of that level of scrutiny. I'm just getting the scrutiny without any of the fame or money at this stage. So this guy, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm being nice, I'm sympathetic, but I'm not saying, hey man, I'm going to this audition tomorrow, you should come. Because stuff like that winds up being used against me so that, like, the person just finds more ways to distract me, rather than have it be a success story of, wow, Joyce, like, really helped me. Like, she told me about this opportunity. Like, what a nice person. Like, that it would just be used to, like, distract me in some way or create some kind of creepy scenario, and that is not an option. He can figure it out himself. And again, he obviously stalked me to bring up the subject of agents, very clearly timed with this audition I was planning to attend the next day and like a recent Facebook post I made. So then he is like, we keep it just like a good, conversation, but there's that factor. So then we head our separate ways. I go to the store and, use their Wi-Fi to get this thing done. And then the next morning at like really early timestamp, an email is in my inbox. And it's from a literary agent. And it's actually a Proton Mail email address, but I look up the name of the agency, and number one, it's a literary agent that I had contacted before with my manuscript. Like, I've probably contacted like quite a few agents, like I don't know if my email is being like blocked or manipulated. Like, that's how bad this is. Like, I don't know if Scientology has placed someone inside of Google. Like, I'm certain there's like a PI somewhere with all my accounts open on a screen monitoring me like 24/7, my email, my bank accounts. It's really crazy. But I don't know if they can like stop my emails from hitting people's inboxes or stop people's emails from hitting my inbox. Like, it's really traumatic. Like, it's like a human rights crisis, but like made to happen very quietly and insidiously, so that I look like, I don't deserve any kind of particular, intervention effort. So this email is from this agency. I go look at their site and like, okay, I've contacted them before. Oh, and look, a little pop-up on their site says, please be advised, we are dealing with scammers contacting writers and trying to impersonate our agency. And so I'm like, and I look at this email and it's from a Proton address. But the question is, some people use Proton Mail to do scams, from what I've read, but some people also use Proton Mail because it is encrypted and they're trying to protect their email. And so I'm like, okay, did this agent open up a Proton Mail address like because, you know, all the agents at this agency got like impersonated and they need a more secure email, or what's the deal here? And the thing about this email is that the agent, you know, whose name it was like, you know, so and so at agency.proton.me, like, so I don't know if, you know, their normal agency email like wasn't secure enough and they had to open a Proton Mail. Like, I still wasn't sure because the whole email was like they'd scoured my online activity and my other projects. So they were really, really thoroughly like, oh, and because of this and this and this, you know, it seems like you'd be a good fit for this and this, and, you know, like, they'd really taken the time to look at my whole, like, online footprint as it pertains to, like, I guess, a literary agent. I mean, I know probably it's possible that they can literally just get, like, an AI formula to look up a bunch of writers and then write a bunch of emails that, like, you know, encapsulates that writer's online presence, like that, and just send, you know, to try to contact and scam, like, you know, 1,000 writers a day or more. But you know, I was still like, oh, this is convincing, like, this is, you know, I don't know what's going on here. You don't know what's happening in this world. Like, I could imagine a writer's, you know, literary agency under siege using Proton email addresses, you know, for like a temporary, you know, thing because they're getting impersonated. I don't know. So, you know, at the bottom of the email, the signature is strange because, like, it's like, sincerely, name of agent, agency, you know, and then one more line, and like the agent's name is like in green, and then like the next line is in like red, and then the next line is in like black, and it's like big font, and it looks like unprofessional, like some sort of weird elementary school style, like, you know, font colors, and just like too big. And I was like, why? Like, why would the agent make that choice? I was like, this is probably a scam, but I'm observing myself, like, still, like, wondering about the aesthetic of this this email. But I'm also like, you know, I was like, I just bumped into that dude talking to me about agents, and like, you know, a lot of the formula of how these social engineering interactions will work is that someone will, they'll bump into me and like they'll have an interaction that is designed to make me sense that I'm being subjected to some sort of litmus test, and then shortly after that, some sort of unfortunate event or arts rejection is timed right after that interaction to make me feel that I karmically pulled in this misfortune, and the goal is to basically subordinate me so that I become so fearful of every interaction and become so abused that I'm just being extorted more and more every time, but I'm still never gonna get a reward. It's all about literally using Pavlovian conditioning to negatively reinforce me into extorted, overly self-sacrificial and overly giving behaviors and have no boundaries. It's literally like an attempt at mental slavery. And this is actually characteristic of something called Black Dianetics, which you can find on Wikipedia. It is like actual Scientology, alleged like secret manual attempts at basically operant conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning to make someone just become so subservient and negatively reinforced and completely destabilize their internal locus of control and sense of self. It's a form of like formulaic abusive conditioning that allegedly Scientology secretly came up with to specifically use as psychological warfare against its perceived enemies. So that could be what this guy was attempting. So all I'm doing is just having normal boundaries and being like, oh, he's talking about wanting an agent, but unfortunately I'm not going to tell him about my plans to go audition for one tomorrow, and that is not a karmic crime, and that is just not, that's not on the table, and that's fine. So I'm like, okay, this scammy agent email is probably like supposed to be like punishment for me not telling this dude about the agent last night when I bumped into him. And it's probably trying to distract me from the audition that I plan to go to this evening. So let me just put this email aside. I'll figure out, researching what's going on here later. And I get ready and I go to this audition for this agency. And I get there and I'm like, where is everyone? I'm looking around. I go, it's like the audition area is totally empty. And I pass like someone who's in the building working security, and they're like, oh, there's no one here tonight. There's no audition scheduled. And I was like, oh, really? I have one. I was like, wait, let me check. Maybe I went to the wrong address. And I look, and it says, audition canceled due to medical emergency. And I'm like, this is so organized crime style, like, or, CIA trying to come off as organized crime, or Scientology trying to come off as organized crime. Like, literally it didn't just say audition canceled, it said audition canceled due to medical emergency. And so I'm just like, this is so blatantly crazy Mulholland Drive level of insanity. So then I go to deal with this literary agent email, and I do write an email back saying, I'm looking for an agent who can help me sell the foreign rights to this, to Almost Rapist, a true crime memoir, and I'm considering either seeing if I should sell the movie rights to a good, like a well-matched, like screenwriter, director, or if I should adapt the screenplay myself and, or get a deal to adapt the screenplay myself. And I'm also writing a prequel and a sequel. Like, I want to stick with this publisher but I wanted to get, foreign rights distribution, an agent who can help me with that, and an agent who can help me also with the screenplay deals for the other two. Potentially, like I said, but the first one is definitely one that would be good for film adaptation. Anyway, of course, only after I send the email. I don't give any like information that's like private or information that can't be found about me publicly in some way anyway. Like I don't send them any like early drafts of stuff, that I haven't shared yet. But of course, immediately after I send the email, I'm like, oh, let me at least see if I can find this agent on Instagram or social media or LinkedIn, and then say, hey, did you send me this email, or is it a scam? Because I saw on your website that you have impersonators, and it's from a Proton email address. So I contacted them on social media. They responded like shockingly right away, because agents are busy all the time. But and they were like, that is not me, that's a scam. And I was like, yes. And I said, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. And also, the agent was not a nonfiction agent, like not a memoir agent, not a true crime agent. They were fiction. So I was a little surprised they were reaching out to me, but you just never know. So it's not like I could say, hey, well, let me send you my stuff anyway, because they were fiction. So that is literally insane that this dude, who I was reasonably sure had stalkerly vibes, not stalkerly in a personal way, but stalkerly as in he's been hired, enlisted by someone to do this. Like, I saw him, it was like a Sunday, and then the next day, a Monday, I get like a scam email trying to distract me from my, from a fake agent, trying to distract me from my evening audition for an agent. And then that evening audition gets canceled due to medical emergency. And I'm also like, oh my, like, I'm like, did I get, am I being harassed by a weird organized crime CIA ring that is like trying to make me feel that I'm getting, anyone who collaborates with me like killed? Or are these agents corroborating as well to like make me feel such a level of guilt that I just like isolate myself from the world? So I'm looking up these agents on their social media accounts to go, because I'm worried that they actually had some sort of a medical emergency and that it was somehow caused by like this weird like network of, billionaires like stalking me because I wrote a book about an Oscar-winning rape suspect who has like connections to powerful families and organized crime. And I don't see anything on any of their social media accounts like, oh my God, I'm in the hospital, or oh, something terrible has happened. Like I check their accounts like throughout the week, and I'm like, for all a web administrator or a hacker could have said due to medical emergency, and the agents don't even know about it in the first place. Like, you just never know. Like, it could have been that these agents weren't, you don't know how exactly they pulled that off. But that's just too crazy to even be just a coincidence, like all those events happening at once. So I'm just thinking, like, what is a dude who went to Columbia grad acting, like, and like got this fellowship that he's telling me about, like, doing working this weird stalker gig on me. Like, what is he doing unless he's getting some sort of career incentive, unless that's part of why he got that fellowship at that theater? Like, you know, what is this dude doing? And it's like, I also, you know, just hearing that like Epstein got, you know, one of his victims slash much younger girlfriends slash accomplices into Columbia, like, you're like, I mean, Columbia grad acting is, any acting program, it's so small. I'm just like, can you pull strings in that illegitimate way with such a small core, you know, class? Like, could someone connected to the sex trafficking networks that like may have been connected to, you know, the Oscar-winning rape suspect who is now deceased at the center of my book, have like, you know, be involved in harassing me and like maybe have like helped get this kid into Columbia grad acting? Or did this kid just get into Columbia grad acting and he happens to work for like Kroll, or he happens to work for like organized crime, or he happens to work for like Scientology or something? I just don't know. You know, it's also strange because one of the professors who was actively and rather blatantly like instrumental in a plot to sabotage my goal of graduating from Tisch with an agent, also teaches at Columbia grad acting, or did at the time, I think, when this kid who stalked me was studying there. So it is just strange. Like, it is just, you know, bizarre and kind of medieval that there is this class of basically hired mercenary spies making money at the expense of just whoever the wealthy are hiring them out on, and also enriching themselves in ways that are more than just money, but also like networks of secrecy and, you know, networks of incentive. It's creating like a class of people, like a secret hidden class. That is very Game of Thrones, like the king's spies, you know. So that's like a whole study in and of itself. But I just don't really know what to do with that. Like, what exactly do you do with that? You bump into someone who's talking about wanting an agent, and then the next day you're getting a scam email from a fake agent, and then an audition you're planning to attend that evening with an agent is canceled due to medical emergency. And it's not like I'm interacting with agents like every day or even every week or every month. Like, it's something I need, but it's like most of my time I'm spending it, you know, writing thousands of words a day and trying to get the book into bookstores. So it's not like, you know, it's not like I have agents every day and some just happen to get canceled. It was like, oh, this is like my day to go audition for this agent thing because I do need that to happen. Yeah, so I think that was like a threat. I think this dude stalking me and then that medical emergency thing happening was a scare tactic, a threat. And it's very organized crime. And I'm like, it's scary. Like, there was another story, a terrible, tragic story of a Columbia grad MFA student who, left a bar and got bashed in the head, like, conveniently off camera. They don't know at what point in his journey it happened, like, and he had to drop out. It was in the news, and I checked in on that news story, and I don't see anything about him, following up at, how his recovery went. And, it makes you consider, like, there are networks and powerful people and organized crime and private interests and, government interests domestically and abroad, and religious interests that are really, really viewing these elite schools as territory and assets for their cultural influence. And it's, it's scary. It's you can really get targeted by powerful people if you're on their bad side. They can really have a mark on your back. If you're on their good side, you have a whole other set of problems, depending on who it is. But nobody is really safe from these just really wild power games that we don't want to know are going on, so that, because we just want to focus on our craft and doing the best that we can. But unfortunately, we have to know they're going on, because if you don't know they're going on, like what has happened to me for many years is that people have been sabotaging and manipulating me and trying to, like, really keep me out of, like, having just, like, a basic employment income stream, and just through, like, lots and lots of meticulous, like, sabotage that's been orchestrated against me over the years. And that's something I've been totally naive to, and it's been happening without my knowledge or control. And I think it probably happens to a lot of young artists who drop out or even, like, self-destruct or have horrible things happen to them. Like, if you're in, like a position of, like, a lot of potential, like a very, like, visible school or opportunity or, like, career track, like, chances are you have eyes on you that you wouldn't want on you if you knew they were there, potentially. But again, it's easy for me to be very fearful because all of this has happened to me, and maybe there are pockets of, like, you can actually do what you want to do and pursue your goals and achieve them without having to worry about getting targeted by a black ops. And, maybe it's just the fact that, I've written satire about these, these particular topics. Or it could be, that I'm just, like, an MK Ultra thing happening. Anyway, bottom line, I do declare a citizen's injunction, so, like, obviously it shouldn't have to be said, but no one is allowed to stalk or experiment on me or sabotage me regardless of who you work for. But here I am having to say it yet again.